The Hoplite is a high defense tank that is vulnerable to mages and enemies with hammers. It is also generally vulnerable to attacks that deal magic damage. It can block allies as well as tank pretty well. It's one of the better tanks in the game outside of its weaknesses. So as you can see here, it's just kind of main tanking these mercenaries, or these sellswords rather. And it's able to protect the backline squishies pretty easily. And also with a healer in the team, it tends to be really good at fighting physicals, excluding hammer units. So magical and hammer are a big no-no when using this class. Now, it also has low mobility, so let's actually check this thing out. Alright, so in this case, we're looking at Hodrick. Alright, so his stats, he has keen and offensive. The growth types can be changed if you recruit a new one. But typically this class has low initiative, pretty good guard rates, pretty high physical defense, pretty high health, kind of average damage, kind of average accuracy, kind of low evasion, kind of average crit. For the actual types, it's a spear user. It has great shield, which is a little bit more defensive than a standard shield. It is infantry and it is armor. And in terms of stamina, it has 6. So if you make this the party leader, it has 6 stamina. It also has some of the lowest mobility in the game, meaning that if you want to get to an objective quickly or just position or maneuver on the battlefield, this thing is super slow. Now, its leader effect, take less damage from range assist, is very useful for pushing into heavily guarded areas with a ton of archer towers and mage towers and things like this, so that you greatly reduce the damage your team takes from those range assists. Now, there's a better way of dealing with them, and it's an item. So we'll go into that in a second. Now for skills, in terms of attacks, it doesn't really have too much. It just has sting. Let's actually look at that. So 100 physical potency, plus 50% potency if the user is below 50%. So if you are at low HP, you get plus 50% more potency, which is decent. Now this attack is kind of weak from what I've seen. It typically doesn't do much damage, but it's something. It's a tank, so your tank's dealing damage. Their job is to tank for you. Now they also have heavy cover, activates before an ally is attacked, cover an ally with a heavy guard. So this nullifies, it doesn't nullify damage, but it almost does. The heavy guard's quite good, so it almost reduces damage down to 0. Now depending on the type of attack, the guarder obviously can take pretty big damage still, so if he's guarding a magic attack or something like that, that's gonna still hurt him, like a magic weapon, or something that puts damage over time, like a burning weapon. Those can easily kill your hoplites. He also gets Guardian at level 15, grants the user plus 20% physical attack and plus 20% guard rate, and it stacks, activates after being hit. So he can start stacking out, guard rates and physical attack to start blocking more and to start getting more damage, so that when he actually does finally attack, because he tends to attack last, it'll actually hurt kind of, pretty decently. And then we have Fortress, negate stage damage suffered by an allied unit. Now, as far as I understand, this does not affect assist damage. It affects stage damage. So stage damage are damage over time effects, like fire, tornadoes, things like this, that really aren't in the game early game. They're probably in the game more late game. But as far as I can tell, there's really not too many of these effects right now early on, so it kind of doesn't really matter. If there is, let me know. But as far as I've seen one enemy use an AoE attack that put fire on the ground that this could have helped with, but it was low damage anyway, so not the most useful thing. Honestly, it seems like there's just better options in expert mode than this class. It is good for tanking physical, but outside of that, it's just really slow and hard to play around, I would say. Now you can teleport it around when you get different forts and just use it as a defender, but I don't know. I don't know that it's the best thing right now. So here's the build I'm running on Hodrick. Now he is low level because this group does not kill very well. Now I could replace the soldier with some more damage, and maybe when he unlocks a second mage or something, because this is a 3 group, maybe if I unlock another 4 when I get more valor, this would be a better thing. But because they're not killing, they're not leveling up. So generally, groups that kill will level, and groups that do not will not, unless you use stat boosters on them that give them XP and levels. But I have them on Templar, Spear, I have him on Azure Crest Great Shield, which gives him 1 more passive points for more tanking. It also has a pretty decent guard rate and guard efficiency. And then I also have him on Gauntlets for more defense and guard rate plus 20%. So his guard rate is actually 73%, so he's very tanky. And he has 2 heavy covers. And the heavy covers, it defaults to being on prioritize back row. So it defends people behind him. And you can leave it on that, and that's fine. And then for Sting, I just have it on lowest HP so that he goes for last hits. Now, if you wanted to change the spear to something better, maybe like Runic Spear or Unwavering Spear. Runic Spear you get from doing the Mage's quest in the swamp, and there's a town near like the center of the swamp that sells it. So if you want him to be able to bust other tanks open, this can help him do that. It can give him kind of like an asymmetrical result against enemy tanks. Now, if you run a witch, witches do have, excuse me, they have this magic conferral. Adds magical damage to allies' next attack. So this also allows him to tank bust. So between these two, she could also magic conferral this unit, which would probably be better, especially if she hits with long thrust and hits 2 tanks, or hits through a tank and hits something else. But at the very least, he gets some magic damage from that, and you could run that. Now the other spear, the Unwavering Spear, is good for hit fixing and for true attacks for thieves. I think it's better off on Clive, but you could run that on him early. In terms of how good do I think this unit is, it's not bad. It's just that it's really slow and it has a lot of weaknesses. It has magical weaknesses like mages and witches, and it also has hammer weakness. Now, if we look at this map we're on, this team is actually a good matchup. We pretty much destroy them over time. This team will kill me immediately. Let's see, this team. This team, I don't think we could hit, really. Which, that's fine. It's kind of like a wash. This team, we could do well against, because he can tank the front while the mage is nuked down. This team would destroy him. Oh yeah, attacking this team, he's going to get magic assisted, which still does some decent damage to him. This team, he would be okay against. This team, like these ones, he's probably just not going to hit him very well. And he can tank for the back line. So over time, eventually when the hits start coming through. But these hammer teams and the mage teams will destroy him completely. There's quite a few on this map. So if you use him correctly, like if he pushes up here, it'd probably be a bad idea. These guys, this team probably would wreck him with all the, what is it? What's their ability called? Parting blows. Yeah, there's 3 parting blows. So if we don't kill this gladiator, he's going to get parting blow times 3 and probably die off of that. So there's just certain things that just burst him down. So here he is about to fight this again. We'll let him. We'll let them fight this again. It can be decent against like these tank matchups. Like as you can see here, like he tanks for the mage. The mage kills an armor. The soldier kills a thing. He last hits things. He defends them. This isn't a bad team comp. There's just significantly better ones. So I can't really... I mean, this isn't terrible. Yeah, because look, you should, it's a magic thing, if it matters. I don't know if that boosted damage there. I think it just adds it, right? So I think it always just boosts damage. But this team's okay against physicals that don't have the weakness. I do think there's significantly better options, but it's not terrible. And maybe when you get like 4 and 5 units, I think you eventually get 6 on a team, this class would be better, because then there'd be more things to like protect him from mages and problems and threats. Maybe things like boost his resistance to magic. But he can kind of just keep fighting. He cannot fight these, though. This is about to just completely demolish him. So let me show that. How shall I proceed? Yeah, this is not what he wants to fight. 3 hammer units. However, though, obviously, this group would just demolish them. Yeah, this group, I just unlocked 4 people. This group is crazy. I kind of want to show this really quick, because I kind of... Spoiler. Alright, he has to run away from them.
I must stand
I wasn't even paying attention to these guys up here. How did they lose against 2? That's funny. They're just gonna get dominated by these now. Alright, let them die, because they're interrupting my tutorial. Alright, it's enough out of you, Fran. Let's see. Yeah, let's check out this group. This group's kind of cool.
Let's dance.
They have 4 units, obviously, but we have a frontline unit who's not necessarily a tank. but check it out. She counterattacks, and then she gets, like, healed a ton. Protection. And so she counterattacks.
Grant them
She gets quick healed. So this is the idea behind this group, is the quick heal spam.
Come here.
The counterattacks, the quick spam, and then these follow up, and then we have parting blow. So we just have a ton of attacks. Then she has manual heal. So she can have up to 2 quick heals. Yeah, then we parting blow. So this is like an offensive tank that we just spam out heals, and then it just like dishes out damage. But there's different types of tanks, and there's also, of course, like, you know, your Lord unit. But it's not a bad tank, it's just that it's so slow. Maybe later on it gets better. But for now, it's decent. It's like respectable. But yeah, that's it for this one. Definitely like and subscribe if you found this useful. Also, feel free to drop your tactics for how you use Hoplite in the comments, and I'll see you next one. Peace.